answer this question.
And we will start one by one. Are you ready? Miss Vietnam, could you please step forward? All right. Listen carefully.
Sometimes our greatest growth comes after a fall. What has been your biggest failure? And what has been the biggest learning experience from that? Once more. Sometimes our greatest growth comes after a fall. What has been your biggest failure? And what has been the biggest learning experience from that?
You have a translator.
Em xin phép dịch cho chị Như ạ. Đôi khi sự trưởng thành lớn nhất lại đến từ sau một lần vấp ngã. Đâu là thất bại lớn nhất của bạn và bạn đã rút ra được bài học kinh nghiệm lớn nào từ điều đó?
Tôi nghĩ rằng thì bất kỳ trong chúng ta đều có những lựa chọn sai lầm. Nhưng điều quan trọng hơn hết là sau khi vấp ngã chúng ta phải đứng dậy. Chúng ta phải tìm ra mục tiêu cho chính mình và phấn đấu, cố gắng vì mục tiêu đó. Và một cậu bé sống ở một vùng quê nghèo với bà nội. Và ngày hôm nay đứng tại đây, tôi vô cùng tự hào với top 3 Miss International Việt Nam 2025. Và tôi muốn truyền cảm hứng cho những cậu bé, những bạn trong cộng đồng LGBTQ+ ở ngoài kia. Hãy tự tin, hãy cố gắng và đặt ra mục tiêu cho chính mình. Nếu bạn có thất bại thì bạn đừng bỏ cuộc, đừng nản chí. I did it and you can too. Chẳngทำได้ คุณก็ทำได้
I do believe that everyone on earth has been made a wrong mistake, but which is more importantly is how we stand up after that and we find our goal in our life. Me, Han Tâm Như, Miss International Queen Vietnam, have lived in a poor hometown with my grandmother. But after all, I just want to stand up for all of you guys. And my biggest experiences after all is how to stand up and not giving up. And I want to stand by all the LGBT community to be confident, to love yourself, and to be who you are. Because at the end of the day, you will be your shade of light. Thank you.
Thank you, Miss Vietnam. Next, please welcome Miss Cuba. You have 30 seconds to answer the question.
The final question is, sometimes our greatest growth comes after a fall. What has been your biggest failure, and what has been the biggest learning experience from that? One more time. Sometimes our greatest growth comes after a fall. What has been your biggest failure, and what has been the biggest learning experience from that?
Last year, I wanted to be a beauty queen, and I let other standards of beauty affect me. I put on a wig, I had my long hair, I covered my tattoos, but I didn't feel like me. Now, I accept myself, I love myself, and I respect myself. That is why I'm here with my own hair, showing you my heart, showing you my tattoos, showing you my skin.
Thank you, Miss Cuba. Next, please welcome Miss USA. You have 30 seconds to answer.
The final question is, sometimes our greatest growth comes after a fall. What has been your biggest failure, and what has been the biggest learning experience from that? One more time. Sometimes our greatest growth comes after a fall. What has been your biggest failure, and what has been the biggest learning experience from that?
My biggest failure in this life is being way too hard on myself. For all my life, I've strived to push for perfection, but perfection is something that does not exist. I have had to learn over time that it is okay to be exactly who you are. Not everything is perfect in this life. There are some things that you don't love, but with time and acceptance, you can always learn to love. That is what this life is about, taking the time to understand yourself, taking the time to give yourself that same love that you always deserved from your inner child to who you are now. Thank you.
Thank you, Miss USA. Ladies and gentlemen, your top 3 finalists for Miss International Queen 2025.
We are getting closer to the end and about to name the new Miss International Queen 2025. But 1 year ago on this stage, we had crowned Miss International Queen 2024. And tonight, she came back to pass the crown to the next queen. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Catalina Marzano, Miss International Queen 2024.